Hey folks, it's Mangrove from the future here. I've now been flying this Nimble65 for over a month, and I'm probably at this point one of the last, if not the last reviewer to be posting my review of this quad. I still do want to post a review because I think I've uncovered some items given my long-term test that perhaps other reviewers did not highlight. I do want to start off by saying I enjoy flying this so much that I've gone ahead and done something a little bit boneheaded here, which is I've purchased a set of analog goggles in 2024. So you heard that right. Mangrove, as a DJI digital flyer, has gone ahead and purchased a set of Skyzone 040 Pro goggles just so that he can fly this Nimble65 indoors during the wintertime. That is how much I enjoy flying this thing. Hey folks, it's Mangrove. Welcome back to the channel. I'm checking out this super tiny quad from Sub250. This is their Nimble65. The way that this is packaged from Sub250 is quite unique, and the whole thing fits in the palm of your hand. So let's go ahead and unpack this together. First, we have this cellophane wrap. Next, we have a quad that likes to wiggle around. And this is quite neat. So you've got a little pull tab. So let's pull this tab. Oh, this is very satisfying. And then in the box, we have the quad itself. So this thing is minuscule. Next, we have this little accessory pouch. And this is adorable. It's got a little helipad there. In the accessory box, we've got some stickers, we have some tools, we've got screws and extra props. And I love when manufacturers give you extra props. Nothing worse than being out on your first flight, breaking a prop, and then being grounded for weeks. So good job here, Sub250. Now taking a closer look at the quad itself, it looks like it is assembled quite nicely. I do see a camera protector cover on there. Make sure you remove that before your first flight. Let's see how the adjustability of the camera is. So yeah, we got decent adjustability on the camera there. And then the motors themselves, super tiny, 0702 Sub250 branded motors, 27,000 kV. And we can see our all-in-one board there. This is the ExpressLRS version. Would have been nice for these cables to be a little bit shorter, but that's just a nitpick. We do have a micro USB over there. Would have been nice to have a cable in the box, especially now that most people have moved over to USB Type-C. I also got these battery packs. These are the Sub250 branded 300 milliamp square cells. So that's very, very good to see. It does say LiPo on there though. That's a little bit strange because on the back, it does say that the voltage of each cell should be below 4.35. That makes it sound like these are high voltage cells. And here's a closer look at the cells themselves. This is quite nice. Let's do a quick weight check. The quad itself, no camera protector, no QC pass label, is 21 grams. Add the battery, 30 grams ready to fly. All right, let's go ahead and do a quick flight together. I'm not gonna go too fast because I can't fly and talk at the same time, but I wanna show you how this thing flies, the video quality and so forth. You can see my poor man's version of race gates. So let's go through that gate very slowly. That one very slowly as well. And you can just see how smooth this thing flies, even though I've completely destroyed this frame and it's held together by chewing gum and glue. But just look at how smooth it is. This is why I like this thing so much. And I will be able to get about 2.5 to maybe 2 minutes 45 seconds of flight time on these 300 milliamp batteries. But you can see it's flying quite well. I do get a little bit of breakup, a little bit of ghosting in the image. Now I don't know if that's because of the compatibility with the Skyzone goggles or just how this thing operates. You can say hello to me. Let's go through this guy, yes. This black one I got from IKEA, and it's quite difficult to fly through the black ones. I do avoid it during filming here. I'm not that good of a pilot, but can I get through? Nope, you see? But I can kind of show you the turtle mode. And unfortunately, that's what I was talking about, how it ends up going upside down when you crash. Other whoops I've flown seem to upright themselves a little bit more often than this thing does. But there you go. I think you've seen me fly enough. If I can hit this, yes. Can I hit this one? Yes. Let's go top level. Can I get through? Oh, look at that. So there you have it. This is flying quite well, quite happy. We'll go a little bit faster till we crash. Oh, I went through that one sideways. Oh, I crashed. I probably didn't need to disarm, but there you have it. Let's start off with the simple stuff. So first of all, as expected, these motor cables are far too long and they do end up getting caught up in the propellers. None of them have gotten chopped up, but I did turtle mode one time and I came to take off and I heard an awful noise, which was the actual motor cables rubbing up against the propellers. So this is a very easy fix. Just go ahead and unplug the motor, twist up the motor cable, and that does help keep them out of the propellers. The next simple item has to do with the labels on the battery. You can see the labels don't wrap around. So what ends up happening is as you insert the battery, it actually gets caught up on the label. And you can see my label is quite mangled here and I had to cut a little bit of it off. Very simple solution. Just wrap that label around the battery and you resolve this frustration. Looking at this battery from Beta FPV, you can see that's exactly what they've done. They've wrapped this label around the entire battery and that resolves that frustration. The next item has to do with the design of the canopy here. Yes, this canopy looks nice. It looks quite sporty, but it adds in extra weight. So the Nimble65 is roughly 10% heavier than its nearest competitor. And also with the camera being so low, we do get the tips of these ducts in view. Again, not ideal. But the most annoying thing is that this design actually prevents the quad from right-siding itself. So you crash, and rather than being able to kind of right-side itself, we're stuck upside down and we have to turtle mode. Again, kind of a frustrating experience. Not the end of the world, but a redesign would help some of those things. The next item here is quite major, which has to do with the actual durability of the frame. I know Sub250 uses the same frame material as other manufacturers. That material is called PP, but unfortunately, I do have issues with the durability of it. And you can see I've broken nearly every single one of my ducts. There's glue there, there's glue here. This one has glue as well. This one has survived. Glue here, this one is okay. So I don't know if perhaps I've got a bad batch or what it is, but I do find this frame quite brittle. And every time I fly this, I am grabbing the bottle of E6000 glue and I'm gluing it back together. It still doesn't stop me from loving this frame, but it is frustrating having to glue it back together every single flight. I've had some really bad crashes with other 65mm whoops and I never broke the frame on any of those. So definitely something going on with the frame on the Sub250 Nimble65. The next issue I have is a bit of an overheating situation with the ExpressLRS component of the all-in-one flight controller. And as a DJI pilot, I'm well accustomed to overheating components, but a bit surprised to see that happen with this particular tiny whip here. And this issue happens only on the bench. In normal flight, changing battery packs between flights, it doesn't sit around long enough for the overheating to happen, but it has happened to me multiple times on the bench. And for thoroughness of review, I will show you what is going on here. I did reach out to Sub250 and they have not seen this issue and they have not heard this issue being reported by anyone else. So possible we have a one-off situation here, but let me show you what happens. I'm gonna plug this in and I'll show you live on video here what happens. So this connects, we have video, and we see that on the radio, we have connection and everything looks good. I can arm. So this is working as expected, but now we'll wait a couple of minutes, maybe not a couple of minutes, give it 30 seconds to 1 minute. And then when I try to reconnect, that is when it will not connect. And that's where I suspect it's really heat soaking of the ExpressLRS components and it prevents this from reconnecting. But in my experience, it will never disconnect. So it can sit here and heat soak, get super hot. It will not disconnect. But when you try to change batteries and reconnect, that is where it says, uh-oh, I'm too hot. I'm not gonna reconnect. So we'll give it a few more seconds and I'll show you exactly what happens here. So that should be good enough. Let me go ahead and unplug. So when I unplug, of course, this will disconnect. So watch these bars. Okay, we have disconnected. Let's say I switch batteries. And now when I replug this back in, we get video, but this is where we're gonna find, it seems to connect, but it only gives me 2 bars and it will actually not connect. So you see it will not arm. That is the problem. If I let this cool off, everything will be fine. To wrap up, I enjoyed flying the Nimble65 so much that I went and I purchased a set of analog goggles. That itself should speak volumes to how good this thing is. The beta flight configuration out of the box was stellar. The flight performance is smooth and fun. Really, I can't fault Sub250 for the setup of this and their tuning of this. It's just amazing what they've done. I really hope that they make a version 2 of this that addresses some of those nitpicks I mentioned, but more importantly, I hope they can figure out what's going on with the frame being brittle. It's a shame that you have to deal with a frame cracking every single flight, given that everything else on this is so amazing. So hopefully you liked this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and stay tuned for more videos.